Oh,
Oh, flip. Look, I had a couple messages. What happened? Where y'all going? We're just about to get good.
my bad.
No,
I
let me
was on.
see. Let me move this. Okay, I sent it to Ivory too. So I created a new stream and it's supposed to be on the page and on my page, but I didn't see it get pushed. So let me, okay, there it is. All right, let me update with the new link. Are we live? Yeah, we are live. So for
Yep,
those of you who were like, oh, where did y'all go? Come back.
that was my fault.
Bring Joe Tail in the conversation. Come have a conversation with us. Let's let it get real good. I am posting the link to the new stream in the comment section. What the fuck is that? The comment section on my page and on the, ooh, no, that's not working well. Damn. Let me see. Hold on. Okay, you talk. I'm copying and pasting.
Okay. Yep, I'm doing the same thing, but
Okay.
I got it there. So I think I got it back in just about everything.
Okay. Copy this.
Um,
Copy link. There we go.
so what I was trying to do, before I so rudely interrupted myself, I was because I was actually over loading videos at the same time. So a couple of the pick a posts that we had that
Well, do you want to keep talking about what we were talking about, or do you want to wait for Ivory? What up, Koo? Do you want to wait for Ivory?
No, she get in. Well, she might not come back. Who knows? Ain't no telling.
Why did it not let just copy the one stream? I just want the actual link. That's all I want.
Well, let me go here first.
I'm sorry.
We go down the thread,
yeah.
and it's still in the same kind of same ballpark. I want to know what you think about this because different people have some different opinions. This is a post about, I guess, it's some type of home worker. I don't know exactly whether they help assist the elderly, and she took a man out to the club.
Yes. That was one of my ones I had on my list of stuff I wanted to talk about.
Men or women?
Women.
That wasn't it. Did you screen record the video of the old man?
Yeah. Look at them knees. Look at them. Bending them knees. Bending them. Should he have got fired? I mean, should she have gotten fired? Yes, she should have.
No, she should have gotten fired.
Okay.
She should have gotten fired. Hold on. Ivory said she doesn't see the link. I sent it to you.
She got it. She got it.
Okay. See, I sent it in Facebook Messenger. Did you happen to copy?
You got to split this. Copy what?
Did you copy and paste the new link that I sent you in the Facebook?
Yeah, I went to my messenger and found it.
Well, I can't copy that link from my laptop for some reason because I sent it from my phone.
Let me see if I can do it.
Okay. I feel like I put it on Freethinkers, but I don't know if the link is showing for people to be able to actually join.
Right. Got you.
I do want to go back to the conversation we were having though.
Okay. Let's okay, go ahead. Jump back right where we're at. I don't know where do you want to go with the conversation? Yeah.
Well, you had asked as a freethinker if you feel like we have responsibility or something about, addressing those situations when they happen. And I think, so I'll speak as a freethinker, the baby mama. I feel as though with this particular subject, well, maybe with a lot of subjects, right? I don't always attend conversations that I'm going to get beat up on. Sometimes I don't mind. Right? Like sometimes I'm all for, like I love a good fight. But sometimes I don't tend to conversations like that where I'm going to emotionally probably feel more taxed than I would other conversations and topics. And I think that for this one in particular, what they say, it's above me, right? it's above my pay grade. However, with certain
It's not
people
above your
and in
pay
certain,
grade.
huh?
Go ahead.
No,
That's not
but I'm
above
just
you.
saying
It'd
in
be
terms of
beneath
the
you,
ability,
possibly, not above you.
in terms of the ability to get through to a person is what I mean. In terms of the ability to
It's
be able to,
beneath you. That means it's beneath you then.
no, it ain't beneath me. You got to talk to somebody else above me. Like it's you got to keep going up the line and find somebody else who can get to you because I can't get to you. I can't reach you.
This conversation, I would think for a real free thinker, any conversation where a person doesn't know how to give, take, reciprocate, communicate conversations, then the conversation becomes beneath you. I say it for me, at least. If you don't know how to give and take in a conversation, hear what's being said, and respond to what's being said, those conversations get beneath me. Sorry to sound like that, but I do.
No, I know. So I know what you mean. What I mean by that though is that you got to talk to somebody else higher level than me in this department because clearly I can't get.
That ain't gonna help. And I'm
you.
telling you, talking to somebody higher than me ain't gonna help you with your issue.
I'm
probably the right person because I can talk to your level.
But it's not my problem, right? Like I'm not taking on your issues. So there are genuinely times where I think that yes, it is. We do have a responsibility to be able to stay transparent and provide clarity, right? Especially in context situations.
Nikki.
But I also am not a part of the fix them all fucking club either. Like I feel like Nikki, you do have to have boundaries in where you're going to go with people.
Hold on, Nikki. Part of free thinkers transparency is telling people about not themselves, but telling people when they got a whack opinion or viewpoint on life, society, whatever the case is. We don't attack the person.
Right.
But if your viewpoint lacks, we don't do a whole lot of sugarcoating with that either. Why do you feel the need? I'm asking you, if that is the case, why would you feel the need to give a soft cushion landing pad on something where you need to hit that ground pretty hard because your angles
I don't mind how you hit the ground. I'm okay with you hitting that motherfucker, breaking a couple bones. That's not my concern. My concern is how much of my energy and how much of me would I exhaust in some arenas. Some arenas, you can have every fucking piece of me and we can just keep going and going and going until we're both blue in the face until we come to an understanding. Some arenas, you're not going to get a whole lot of me because I have to still protect me at the end of the day.
And under what circumstances? I'm asking everybody on here, especially you and you mainly, Nikki, but Ivory sometimes, as frequent participators on the page. What subjects on Free Thinkers, if any, do you feel the need to be a little bit more sensitive than Ivory already kind of? Ivory already kind of, since she's PC already, but Nikki, I'd say you more because Ivory, she already got a soft answer to everything to some degree. Under what topics or subject matters do you be like, I'm gonna give a softer response to this person or directed to this topic? Is there anything that you say I ain't gonna go hard, I'm gonna touch it softly?
I think that you can be effective. I think that I don't think that all conversations are all confrontations, because it doesn't have to be a bad confrontation, but I don't think that all of them have to be guns blazing, right? Like fire in the background starting to slowly grow and get bigger, right? Like I don't feel like all conversations have to be that way. I feel like a lot of things can be addressed still in ways where it's not guns blazing, right? I don't feel like I have a softer approach to certain topics, but I feel like you just handle different people different ways. Everybody has their own set of gloves. But I also think that there is a fine line where once you cross it, it can be gloves off. I don't think I have any topics in particular that I feel like I would be more gentle. I think the one I'm probably the most gentle on, because I'm the least educated about, is the topics of religion. Just because I don't like to speak on things I don't have knowledge of. So I don't generally stick my neck out and, put myself in those types of conversations, because I'm not educated a whole lot on that. But when it comes to matters of the heart and truth and shit like that, no, I think I like to think I'm fair in all the ways I handle things. I don't know. I could be. I mean, shit. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I don't know.
For me, it's funny when I I look at everything. It's like, do I have energy or don't I have energy? So for me, social media is like, I would never get on and it's actually expending energy or negative energy for me. So everything I look at, I'm like, do you have time for that today? Do you have energy for that today? Would that be a fun thing for you to debate today? And if the answer to any of those things are no, then I just don't. Like, it could be an interesting topic, it could be whatever, but if I don't have the energy, the time, the whatever, it gets ignored. And it doesn't matter that somebody should have said something or would have been nice if somebody spoke up. It wasn't for me that day because I didn't have energy for it that day. But some days I wake up and I'm like,
I got time.
I got time to say
today. Yes.
And so you might post something one day and it's like, dang, I would responded back all day. And then you might make the same type of post 10 times and never see me again because I don't got energy for it.
Right. And that's kind of what I was saying to Q, is it just depends on the situation. If I'm willing to expend my energy in a way in where I want to keep engaging in something with somebody, then I will. If I don't, I'm not. I'm just not. And I think I've gotten old enough and wise enough and learned a little bit enough about enough to where I don't have to. At the end of the day, I know that I can only control the street in which I live. I can't worry about what nobody else got going on, nowhere in their house, in their situations. Like, I can only give what I can give. And there's a book called Codependent No More, and I strongly subscribe to that shit. I don't have to. I like to, and that's why we do this. I enjoy it, and that's why we have free thinkers, right? We've opened up a platform for people to be able to have conversations that may be tougher than most people genuinely have, right? So if you can't come here and have a conversation with me, that's okay. I'm probably not going to give a whole bunch of my time outside of certain arenas just because I don't. I can be friends with people that I don't always agree with. I can be friends with people that we have differences with. I can be friends with people and be friendly with people who see things differently. But at the end of the day, I live over here at my address with my 3 children, paying my little funky old ass bills up over here in this raggedy ass house I live in. Where you live, where you eat, where you sleep, don't make me shit. So if you want to challenge yourself to be better, I'm all for the conversation. But if you're not interested in challenging yourself to be better, I don't really have much conversation for you sometimes.
And look, Nikki, I've seen like the 7th woman bashing post on that thing, and I had some time that day. I was like, we gonna bash, we just gonna, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like I got a little time today to address a little woman bashing. I had some time.
See, that what made you join us tonight? Because we show got kicked off and then boom, there was a whole bunch of faces I didn't know was watching tonight.
I know. I was trying to get on and it was like I couldn't find the link.
Yeah, the second one,
right? I just put it in. Okay.
I messed up somehow. I cannot post the second link, so I'm glad you found that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I put it in
Ivory
the link is in the chat. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
No, I was in the studio and I was like, okay, well, let me tune in. Let me see what's going on. See what y'all talking
about. See what they talking about.
But no, I agree with y'all. Like, the older you get, the less you have time for the frivolous things. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I'll see something on Facebook or somewhere on social, and I won't even try to respond. I'll just be like, whatever. And I'll just like get my popcorn and watch everybody else go at it. But if there's something on there, like, you know, kind of like what Aubrey said, if there's like a man bashing thing, or if there's something that's people are bashing women, I might get on there and be like, you know, here's my view on that. It's not that serious, or don't do that towards women. Like in almost every post I make that's like pro man, I'll always put, you know, but it's not always, you know, the woman's fault. I make sure that I put those disclaimers in everything I do. Like it's not always the woman's fault. It's not always.
Oh no, T-Double. Sometimes you don't be putting them disclaimers for no women, T-Double. Oh no.
Most of the time
Wait a minute.
Most of the time I do. Most of the time I try to put that disclaimer in there. Because
This is me being your friend.
Because I know sometimes my rebuttal will be from people, well, men don't and women don't. So now I try to add that disclaimer in there, you know, subconsciously all the time, just in case that follow-up is there. You know what I'm saying? But I always try to, you know, and about what y'all was saying earlier about the soft hands on the comments about how to respond. Should you be softer to certain topics or not? I try to be straight on everyone. You know what I mean? Like when there's topics about women issues, I might get on there, but I won't be on there too tough because that's like a woman issue. But if I feel there's something anti-man going on in there, I might comment, but I won't be on there like all day going hard on it, or try not to. You know what I mean? I try to like, let me back away from that. But I
want to ask you. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. What's up?
Well, I want to ask you a question that Q asked me. So, you know, and y'all know my fucking memory be bad. I will lose my train of thought in a second. So I'm gonna try to repeat this the way that Q had said it. Q had asked me basically, or I don't think he really asked me. He just was stating, because I had mentioned how I'd had a couple different men reach out to me over the last couple of days and have some very, very, very vulnerable conversations about men and women dynamic situations. And one of them, you know, I made the comment about, he was like, just help me make it make sense, right?
Right.
And so Q was like, why wouldn't a man go to other men about this question? My statement being, well, one, he's wanting some understanding about a woman's perspective. So who better to ask than a woman, right? If you're wanting a woman's perspective.
Right.
So to that point, you definitely post a lot of relationship-based topics to free thinkers,
right.
Men and women, you know, just gauging. And I realize that free thinkers is a safe space. At least that's how we want it to be. Our goal is for it to be a safe space, right? So we want it to be able to be a space where men can ask vulnerable questions that they might not ask to just regular ass women, or women can ask to men that they just wouldn't ask to regular men. So I realize that a lot of times people will put things on there for perspective of 600 different fucking people.
Right.
Because you could have potentially 600 different responses come back, right? And this is how we're supposed to grow, is by understanding different people from different spaces and different angles.
Yeah.
So on one hand, I applaud the seeking of understanding, wanting to get some of the questions that, let's say you in particular will post about, like women issues or relationship issues. What is the purpose of posting some of those things? Why do you post those things there? Why do you post relationship things there, or women specific things there?
I think
I got a better question than that, but I'm gonna let you answer that one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think some of the relationship stuff I post is from the conversations I have with the guy friends that I have. Like a lot of stuff I post is not really tearing any feels
right
way, but I'm just, you know, extending, like if I'm talking to, like, you know, like sometimes there's conversation about women want to date a guy who makes a certain amount of money, right? I have friends who make a certain amount of money, and that's how they feel. So then I'll throw it on here and say, well, I think, or I heard, or this is how they feel. And, you know, and just the same with, you know, women issues, right? Like if I respond to something that is kind of woman related, is usually a rebuttal to how a woman might have said how they want a man to spend all their money, or how to do all this. And it's usually a reactionary comment to that. But I think free thinkers, because that's the only place where I post that type of stuff, is on free thinkers, really.
Hold on. Why you only posted on free thinkers and not your own stuff?
Because on free thinkers is where there's more people who might want to hear those type of things. Like on my personal socials, I don't get into those topics. A lot of my stuff is music related, and other type of stuff. So it's like I'm not gonna sit on there all day and have relationship conversations while I'm talking about, you know, a tour or something.
I
But
think
on
Ivory
free,
do that too.
yeah,
She be talking about stuff on free
but on
things.
free thing,
I
but on,
was finna say I'm
talking about
guilty. I don't
yeah,
post anything videos on my own page. I posted
yeah.
all the free thinkers.
But free
Put
thinkers
all
is
this shit over there.
yeah, but free thinkers is great. Free thinkers is great mainly to me because I can post something and get like a real rough ass response from somebody, like maybe
Yeah,
Nikki,
right.
maybe Tori, maybe whoever, but we still cool as hell. Like nobody gets
Right.
butt hurt and stop being friends on there. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the coolest parts that you can really have that
95%
dialogue
of
as
the time.
adults. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I post on there.
9 out of 10 times ain't nobody gonna stop being friends, but yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so here's my question that I want to follow up with you. You answered
Your
part
better
of it, but I'm
question.
asking, I said my better question. I think
Your
I
better
want to get I like my I be thinking my questions are interesting. Let's go back to let's say the last 10 posts you've done. And I ain't talking about what you commented or responded on. 10 posts
Okay.
that you put out, whether on Free Thinkers, your personal page, that dealt with a man-woman dynamic. Would you say your posts are balanced in the way they are put out there?
Definitely not. I think my posts are definitely pro men with my posts. You know, and I can admit that. You know, I'm not gonna sit up here and lie and say, yes, I post pro women too, because I don't. I'm a man. So I see a lot of things through the man perspective, through the man gaze, who like when there's conversations about child support. Like I don't get on child support posts and start bashing women, you know, hardcore. Some people get on Free Thinkers to start the fire, right? Like to get on there and say something really crazy so everybody just goes wild on it. But no, my posts are definitely not balanced. You know, I mean, I don't think almost anybody on there really is. And if they say that all their posts are balanced, I think every post is skewed.
I think my posts are balanced.
Well, every post is skewed towards your perspective on things. You know,
well, you know,
like,
well, let me say this, Tito. A lot of stuff that I will post either on Free Thinkers or my personal page, it could be things like, hey, this is a different angle people ain't looking at. And some of it will lean toward how I feel, but other things that I post will lean towards ways that I'm like, I've never thought about this in this type of way. So I might post something that could be pro woman. It's like, dang, this is something I never thought to view it this way.
Yeah,
Let me post this because it's a different angle.
Yeah, and also it's, you know, the perspective is up to the reader, right? Like I might post something from a man's perspective and a woman might read it, be like, I didn't think that way. Like I never heard a guy explain it that way, right? So it's really up to whoever's reading it, how they take it in. Like I might say my stuff is skewed towards men, and somebody else might say, well, you do have a little bit of this. You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay, but T-Double, let me say, and I ain't even saying towards you directly. I was gonna say towards a lot of the recent pro man posts. I'm like, how are some of these posts gonna have a woman be like, oh, I never viewed it that way? Like when it's done in a degrading nature, it's done in a way that it's demeaning. Also, like some of the one we talked about, whatever that was a couple days ago, that was demeaning. Like, so like even, and I think me, Ivory, and Nikki had a whole conversation about that, not just what's being said, but the way it's being said. How would you expect that to properly be received when it's, let me educate you, dummy. Like, you know, that's ultimately what it's saying in a way. And it's like, I'm not listening to you say it's something. Let me tell you, it was something, something that somebody, it was either on Facebook or Instagram, and they were making a great point. I think it was about man, woman, and how certain things, but it was Ted Cruz who was saying it. I'm like, I don't care how good of a point you make it. I'm not using that person to make any point. I don't care what type of Candace Owens, Ted Cruz. Now, you can make all the sense in the world, and I will find a different example to put that out.
Anybody but you.
You know that. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I think some of it is emotional typing, right? Where people are just not really thinking about what they're going to say. They just type in the moment. They read something and instantly go to comment, and then it comes out really crazy. And they might have a point in there, but it's surrounded by all the murkiness, you know. And I'm sure I probably done that too. Type something, and I'm like, what? You don't see my point on there? But then everybody's like,
we all have,
all that other, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of posts are like that, and a lot of posts, some people can't differentiate between how they talk to their homies and girlfriends in public when they're alone, as opposed to typing it and expressing it in a way with enough words and enough clarity that other people can read it and get it. Because sometimes you'll read something, be like,
that's what I do like about free thinkers, because free thinkers will force you. They're gonna hold you to the fire, and every word I gotta make sure I say every word correctly.
Exactly.
Because if you say one word out of step, they're gonna be like, not necessarily.
That's what I said earlier. I'll be adding disclaimers, like not all. Maybe we do too.
I will retype your own words again if you got confused.
You was about to say something else, Ivory. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for me, when it comes to posting, even on free thinkers or anything, I think people you can miss what is your ultimate purpose. Like, what is the message you are trying to convey? Because it's not your video, right? It's not your words, but is what you're posting, does it represent you well? And so for me, I've watched things and I've liked some things that they've said, but I know the tone or the delivery or the whatever, the language, it does not represent me well.
Right.
And so for me, I might save it to my own videos. Oh, that was cute. I like how they said that. I'm not going to share it because it doesn't represent my purpose in what I want to put out in the world about relationships. And I'm very passionate about relationships. And so the things that I'm going to repost or the things I'm going to share is normally going to be about how do men and women understand each other better. And when I've seen men and women have good conversations about coming to understandings. I'm not going to post no woman going off about how men are. I'm not going to post no man going off about how women are, because that doesn't represent my purpose for relationships well. If I want to see relationships come together and be better, how does that represent me? It just doesn't. So when I say I'm balanced, maybe not balanced, I'm definitely skewed to how I see the world. And the way I see the world is, I think we're better together and having conversations about how to be better together. So I'm not going to post anything that goes against that.
Yeah, I think that Demetrius definitely said, well, we can clearly see that some posts are purposefully antagonistic. And that kind of go back to what T-Double said, like, hey, some stuff get a little spicy. You get a direct answer on this and this. So like, let me put this over here and see the type of smoke. So I'm like, okay, well, if you want smoke, just make sure that you know the smoke. There's been a lot of people who, listen, I'm be honest. There's been a lot of people who wanted the smoke, and then when they got the smoke, they found out it wasn't what they wanted. I can't be no more truthful than that.
It is the truth.
That's all.
I had a whole train of thought. Because, it kind of goes back to what we talked about before T jumped on here, is that if we're going to be part of the solution, then we can't stop thinking about the problem, because the problem still exists, right? Like the issues that men want to bring to women's attention about women, we need those things brought to the forefront so we can address those things. And the things that women have issues with about men that we want men to address, like we obviously have to bring these things to the table, right? Like all of the ugly shit women do and all of the ugly shit men do, like it has to be addressed. It has to be confronted. It has to be acknowledged that it is what it is. We can't change something that we don't acknowledge exists. So this is kind of going back to where we started in the beginning, where I said I feel like I want to speak in different spaces with this, because on one hand, I do understand even the posts where I feel like they are definitely antagonistic and they're men who are, I know this doesn't sound real great, but fucking yelping, literally hit dog holler syndrome, where you've got bleeders who are bleeding onto others, right? Humans are humans. I get it, right? Even in those posts, I try to take the purpose out of them, take all the hurtful fat away, and keep it to just whatever the purpose of what it is I think this man is trying to say without saying what he's trying to say by using this video or this talk show or this podcast or whatever the case may be. But then when you get the essence of what it is, you almost can't focus on it anymore because there's so much fat, ugly bullshit wrapped around the essence of what the issue is that we lose it. And so now we're back on problem-based energy as opposed to solution-based issues. That doesn't mean the issues don't still have to be highlighted, but somehow in here, our bitterness, our hurts, our wounds continue to lead those conversations, and they're not productive. It is continuing to drive wedges between good men and good fucking women who probably do meet each other, who probably could be fantastic with each other, who probably would be better if we were better. But somewhere in there, in those weeds, in that hurt, in that bitterness, in that sourness, in that whatever the fuck it is, I don't know, it is prominent. And I'm sure just as men would say women are constantly dogging on men, fellas, we feel as though we are constantly also being dogged on. So how the fuck are we ever supposed to come to a solution if the two of us are constantly feeling like we're not being heard? Men are hurting women, women are hurting men. Because like men hurt because women hurt.
Let me
do what?
You said it's internet.
My internet, I feel like my internet getting choppy again. Hate when that happens. But can you hear me?
We can hear you fine right now.
Yeah,
you good right now.
So one of the things where I slightly disagree with you, Nikki, as far as my approach, I don't feel obligated to do anything specifically. I guess as far as I feel it's absolutely free reign to attack a post. If there's a post, if there's a meme, if there's a video, I can call that video, meme, post trash, is garbage, is baseless, it doesn't make sense, is once like I'll dog it to death. The issue comes in play when either the creator of that post or other people try to defend that foolishness. Now, once you're defending it, now you've attached yourself to the same sentiments of that post. And now it slightly turns from me critiquing or analyzing a post to now I have to critique and analyze your thoughts and responses to the post since you're trying to be the defender of it. So that's when it turned into something else. I'm like, well, I wasn't calling you trash. I was calling the post trash. Now, if you defending it, then if you want to lump yourself in that lump of trash that I was talking about, then that wasn't my intent, but that's what happens.
And I was gonna say, Nikki, to your point, I'm with you. Like I actually love to have conversations about what's wrong and how we could do better on both sides. Like I'm super down for that any day of the week. Now, like I'm not down for the dumping, and that's like I'm not down for men dumping or women dumping. Like I don't do like I have a husband, I have a father, I have way too many wonderful men in my life to listen to women sit around and bash men. Like I'm not doing it no day of the week. But the same, I'm a lady. I like myself, and I got good home girls. I got a mama. I got a sister. Like I'm not listening to you do that either. That don't make no sense.
True. And to that point, Ivory, granted, I know a lot of people, but I don't have a lot of friends, right? I know a gang of fucking folks, but I have a very small select group of friends. And the women that I know, they may say some unsavory things about men who do unsavory shit, right? But they don't dog men. We're trying to find a fucking man. Not like we're trying to find a man, right? But we're trying to find the yin to our yang. We're trying to find this person because we have these phenomenal men examples to choose from. We have great fathers, brothers, nephews, sons, grandfathers. We have men who've shown us the magic of what having a good man is, and having a man by your side is, having a fucking partner by your side is. And don't get into the weeds of man versus women shit for anybody who's watching this feel some type of way. I'm just speaking in regards to how I date, right? And how the four of us on this panel certainly, date. So to me, and you can or you can't disagree with this. It's up to you. Like to me, men and women complete each other. Just we do. We are the puzzle piece. We are the yin. We are the yang. We are the universal balance. So I don't deal with women on many levels outside of social media, and even social media is very fucking minimal. That dog on men. What?
This is a good time for a decent segue. I don't know if you want to segue into another one of the posts that I saw, and I heard some other people talking about it. But this was talked about for a good long time.
He said,
"God damn!"
They talked about this for a good long time, and a 30-second dance with Usher. Now they done broke up because they didn't know how to handle. In my opinion, they don't know how to handle social media. Number one, he shouldn't have been responding to her through social media. That was simp stuff on his part. He should have handled that way better.
Yep.
And now you've invited the entire world into your personal business by putting that out there and all of that stuff. That's why I was having a conversation yesterday on High IQ with Ivory, where we were talking about our top 5 relationships. I said Jada and Will is still in my top 5. They at number 5. They're at the edge of it, but they still in my top 5 because out of all the stuff that they go through and they deal with, they find ways to work it out and stay together. And something as simple as this, they broke up already. They gone, and now they talking. Now you got a child that's gonna be split between 2 parents and have to go through that whole cycle because they couldn't. You living in the limelight, and then one person can't handle it. Y'all don't know how to be adults in the limelight. And this is another example. So all of this stuff, where men on one side and women on another side, she could do what she wants, she could this, men like, well, he needs to like, and now they broke up.
Yep, statistics.
And ain't nobody gonna be saying none of it. All they're gonna be saying, see, I told you. Now they're gonna look for the next person to be in their business. Y'all lived y'all life for social media assisted in breaking y'all up, and they ain't thinking about you no more. When your next movie coming out, to the dude, we ain't know you in the first place, so it don't matter.
True.
What do you somebody tell me what y'all think about that? Like the whole situation, and it was a quick turnaround. I feel like this just happened a few weeks ago.
Well, misery loves company. This is a perfect example of misery loving company. You know, the number of comments, and we talked about this on the show. Oh, you ain't, you single till you get married. Man, I ain't with that shit. I ain't with that. I'm not with that. I'm not with that shit at all. I'm not. In theory, I'm technically by fucking W-2 form, I'm single until married. There's no doubt about it, right? Like, but no. But there was so many people championing that theory that she's single till she's married.
In that case, and let me sound like one of these.
And now her ass is a fucking single baby mama. Now she's just a baby mama.
If this was a man bashing podcast, so I could say, so when he cheated on you, he really didn't cheat then.
You would say he was single.
Y'all wasn't married, so technically, if he ain't married, then he's single. Then he could sleep with who he do it. Technically, he didn't cheat on you then, right?
Yeah,
like is that that type of, does it make sense? No, it don't make sense. Think about that.
The double standard is ridiculous when it comes to
this double standard is ridiculous. But I was gonna say somebody did post one, even though it was on the same line of trying to get women straight on Free Thinkers, but that's okay. But this particular post of trying to get ladies straight, I agree with. And it said, if you haven't had a good man, if you've never let anybody tell you don't wear that, hey, let me tell you, that wasn't the right way to act, or hey, you could have handled that differently, and all of that. And I'm like, that's true. If you're in a relationship with a strong man, he's going to have opinions about how you present yourself. And that's okay in a relationship.
Balance.
That doesn't mean somebody's controlling you. It just means you're in a relationship and he's trying to help you with what it looks like to represent you guys as a unit.
And there's a difference between that and someone who is controlling and who tries to
completely
monitor you ever.
Sure.
But you know what? But see, that's the problem though, because the system has trained us to be so polarizing. So what Ivory just said, another person, another lady be like, no, ain't no man gonna be, and then they will take it to the extreme that she wasn't even referring to, and they'll talk about their abusive, controlling relationship where someone, made them check in every 15 minutes and they had to be on FaceTime and they had to watch them when they went to sleep.
That is not the same thing.
That's not what we're talking about. But people will take it they'll take it to that extreme because that's when they hear basic,
it's basic relationship
covering
stuff.
You cover each other, and it is not even just one-sided.
Yeah, I say on it, like, I agree with you, Q. He definitely simped out in the beginning, going public with how he felt. He definitely should have talked to her privately and been like, hey, this is how I feel, this and that. But she obviously didn't have that level of respect for him, so I don't even think that conversation would have went anywhere one-on-one, because he was living with her. She made more money, and we know the norm these days, if the woman makes more money, this and that, then all of a sudden she might treat you like an employee.
Give me this dance, Usher.
Right?
I have this dance.
Like that one video, like y'all saw that video of that older lady who said that she divorced her husband because she made more money, she had the job, she had the house, and so she treated him like he was her employee. And then they finally divorced, and now she's single. She said she slept with a lot of people. She's alone at night, and he went and got married and had kids and doing well, because she felt that she was in a more dominant position than him. So I think
she didn't say it in specifics, but Iyanla had the same. She said the same thing.
Yeah, it was
she downed her man on Oprah.
Yep.
On national TV. She went back. She said at that moment when I downed him like that, it was over. We didn't get divorced for about another year, but it was from that moment it was over. Yep. It was never gonna be the same.
And that's
he moved on and got married and found somebody else.
And that's what makes relationships hard for men, right? Because you're like, women want to say they want a man who can lead, right? So when the man tries to lead to make you a better person on how you represent the couple, like Ivory said, a lot of women now are like, he's controlling, he's toxic, he's all these tag words. So men are like, do I even want to get involved in that? Because I'm the type of man to say, don't have your breast hanging all out when we go somewhere, or this type of thing. But say it in a loving way, like, hey, don't do that, and she'll take it as being controlling. Men are like, I don't even want to deal with that. I don't even want to go down that path of doing that. But like with Kiki,
it's all different. All of it is different. Like when there's a difference between, see, like my girl, I had to like, hey, let it all hang out. Hey, you just do all of that. I try because, but the difference is she's so conservative that me trying to push her to that ledge is just gonna get her a little. She's never gonna be out there like that because that ain't her personality. Right. Versus some people, they got to be half naked all the time because they're seeking a certain. It's like the reasons behind why you're doing it. If you're doing it because you just celebrating yourself, you like the way you feel, but you're also secure within yourself and you just like looking at. That's a difference between I need attention, I need to feel loved, I need to feel wanted. When people going out for like more thirstier reasons, and a man tries to tell you, no, this is not necessary, you don't need to. It's a lot of nuance in between there. So the reason why one person tells a person to do that versus another person can be two different reasons.
Yeah. And
it could just be simply representation of your partner. Like sometimes it doesn't even have to be that you're attention seeking, but if you get with a more conservative partner, then they're not going to feel comfortable walking around with you and your cheeks is hanging out. They're more conservative. That's not, it's like, okay, it could be as simple as if a woman gets with a man and he talks really loud, he yelling across the room, whatever. Maybe you love everything else about him, right? And then you have to say, one day, babe, can we talk about how loud we are in public? Like,
that's probably me.
I love you. I
be
do.
Loud in public.
But that's hard for me. Like it throws me off. If we could just bring it down a little bit, right? Nobody would say she's trying to control him. Well, somebody might, because that's not about control. That's just about, hey, when we're out, this is my level of comfort, right?
Right.
And so you should be able to let a man say, hey, this is my level of comfort. with us in
My
public? Like,
my only issue
are you okay with that?
is my only issue is if he met you, you know, downtown or out of the club and them cheeks was out and he
That's
went
what I was
up to
about to
get
say,
your he wanted to talk to you and he wanted to get the number, then I do have more of an issue when you try to change it up once. Now I'm not, and there is balance, but it's like, you know, just because you, it's weird, but it's I can't even say that because I was gonna say if he met you on the pole, then he can't expect you to get off. But and almost that's he can hope that you get off the pole.
Yeah, you
But
can
to have
bluff
the
for
but
it,
to
but you
have the
can get in your damn
expectation,
feelings if that's not what she wants, just
and
because
at
that's
the
what
end
you
of the
you can do is make
day,
a request.
at the
Right.
end, but no, Ivory, but at the end of the day, she was on the pole and you still got a number while she was on the pole.
I think part of
If
that
you was
is
opposed to it, you shouldn't have got her number while she was on the pole or while she had them cheeks out at the club or whatever the case is. If it was a turn off to you, then you should not have pursued any form of relationship with her. But the fact that you did, that's just my thought. Tito, what are you saying?
now I was gonna say I think part of it is compromising growth, right? Because if you meet somebody who has their cheeks out and all this and that, then y'all have babies, y'all kind of grow up and mature a little bit. Some things kind of should be simmered down and kind of pushed to the side, right? And so I don't have a problem with him telling her, you know, why are you wearing that out and about and you're a mother? Because you know, in the end of the Usher video, she's like, I am a mother, right? So now it
I
becomes
don't
this
want
whole,
that mother thing was lame to me. That was
not,
so lame.
now it becomes a whole, you know, publicly being petty thing, which
You a
makes
mother.
because
Oh,
who is
really?
that?
Is that so? If she wasn't a mother, you would have been okay with her with a booty out dancing with Usher. It
No,
wasn't that. It
but
was just the fact that
but
you're a mother.
but
I ain't buying that.
this go back to what we said about when you meet the person, right? I'm sure when she met him, he was conservative. He is how he is, and she was how she is. So he knew when he got with her, she likes to be seen. She likes to do this. She know when she got with him, he's not
She's
about
an
that.
entertainer. She
Yeah.
Exactly.
entertains people.
So Nikki, what I said on yesterday on our show, I said my number 2 couple is Russell Wilson and Ciara. He don't try to
Right.
control her, and she don't try to look. They be the best versions of their superstar selves they can be,
Yeah.
and ain't neither one of them trying to step on the other person's toes. And they look good and happy. They making all the babies they can make, and everybody calling him a weirdo and a simp and
And
corny,
everything.
and they
Who
calling
cares?
her
They
all
don't care
kind
at
of
all.
names and this and they just over here smiling and looking good.
Yeah. See, now it's like it's cool to be the lame guy, right? Because
If
you
you
don't want
got
to
Ciara, it's cool.
you don't want to really get your shit together, right? Like they used to be like, okay, the lame guy doesn't like do nothing dangerous. He don't like to go out. He don't like to buy. But that's what a lot of women are looking for now.
Yeah.
And
Oh, and by the way,
they're
I'm
looking
worth
for
like
that now.
180 million too.
Do that what? Say what?
I said, and by the
talking
way,
about
I'm worth
Russell.
like 180 million too. Why they calling
Yeah.
Russell Wilson corny? Yeah, I'm bound for the Hall of Fame. I'm worth about 200 million, and I got Ciara on my arm.
Yeah.
If
And
that's what you want to call corny, feel free to.
And was and the biggest issue, like we've all said and agree with, is the social media aspect, right? It's like once social media comes into it, now you're trying to show out for the gram. Now you're trying to do this and that. You might be on a date with your man, but you showing the food, so other guys are thinking you're single and you're out by yourself. You know, like
Okay,
I've
they
seen
be
people
doing
make posts, and I'm like, if you take
I
pictures
see
of the
that all the
food,
time.
take pictures of the dude.
Right.
That's all.
Oh, really? You went to Turks and Caicos all by yourself?
Really?
Right.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
you went out to Dubai by yourself? Oh, that's interesting. Now,
Yeah, so
excuse me if I'm wrong, but
Maybe
usually
they sugar
when
daddy.
I know homegirls when they
That's
go to
what they
Turks
be
and
showing them.
Caicos
They
and they
be
go
the
out with
sugar
their other
daddy.
homegirls, they got pictures everywhere with them and their homegirls
Right,
all
right,
together, grouped up.
Right.
But all of a
Right.
sudden, you in Turks
Right.
and Caicos and Jamaican this and all it's just you and your picture of
Right.
food.
Right.
Interesting. Okay.
Right. Right. Yeah,
I
social
did have a
media-
point
social
to
media
make
ruined it.
about Kiki though, you know, in this whole situation. And I don't know the guy's background or anything like that, but normally I would say there are some red flags that there is no respect in your relationship for there to be kind of a sharing of what's going to happen next. And I'm sure he's seen that.
Mhm.
The second thing I was going to say is, and maybe I'm going to sound like these men podcasts, you got to watch some of these ladies. Ladies will get to a certain age and they just want a baby.
Yeah.
And they like, you cute, you'll do. And once they have that baby, as soon as anything go wrong, they will chunk deuce on you, especially when they can take care of themselves. Just saying.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
That's true.
I'm sure. I don't think she had a problem getting pregnant by somebody. She could have picked whoever.
No, I'm saying this is what I'm saying. It's not a problem. No, we are women. We don't have problem getting pregnant by nobody. That's not the issue. The issue is when it's our timing. So what you have to watch is a woman who's not relationally inclined.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not saying anything. She hasn't demonstrated anything in her past, anything in her conversation that says, I really want to be married, have a family, and settle down. Her focus is completely somewhere else, but I love you. Red flag. Because it's going to take more than you feeling strongly about me to keep this working. You're going to have a commitment to family to keep this working. But women will hit an age with no commitment to actually having a family and know it's time for me to have a baby.
That is true. That's true.
And they will say, you are a good candidate for me to have a baby with.
That is true. Nikki, you just don't even think about Nikki. You disqualified that because you was already before you got to that age, you was already had yours.
Yep.
When a person ain't had no kids, they will, and men see it too. Oh my God, men see it like, woo, you and like either you in heat or you like you just ready. And you can a man can tell, it's like a man who pays attention, like it ain't even about me. You're not attracted to me. You just ready to get what you want. Whether it's I ain't been through the wedding process yet. I need to get this ring on my finger. I need to have a baby. I need to have whatever it is. They hit that age and whoever's in front of my face, are you the one? Are you the one? Are you the one? I was like, no, I ain't the one.
And that's why some men who are financially stable are real hesitant about moving into long-term relationships. Because like she said, you might get with a woman and you feel in a certain way, and she just kind of going through the motions, and then she get the baby, she's going.
Demetrius, that's a huge turnoff.
Now you on the hook for child support. Now you on the hook for child support, and now you on the hook for all these other things when you really thought you might have something real with her. Because some guys, they don't see the red flags. They get caught up in like, okay, she's really showing me this affection that I haven't gotten in a long time, or I haven't gotten from somewhere else. So they're blinded by that. And so then
let me tell you this.
But what has society and movies and music and all the things for the last 25 years told us that is of value? It ain't family. It ain't love. It ain't a mother and a father household. It isn't marriage. It isn't monogamy. It isn't longevity. It's fuck, bitches, fuck, drugs, baby mama, baby daddy, fuck him, fuck her. How many of your mans can I take? How many of your women's can I sleep with? Like, that's what society
programming. They clone Tyrone. Did y'all watch that clone Tyrone?
It ain't shit for a chick to just get with a dude and have his baby and fucking bounce. Don't nobody care about the husband or the family or the father aspect or the support that the woman needs during a pregnancy or after she has a baby. It's just, I can leave Nikki, and I'm fine. Like, it ain't shit no more.
Did you watch that clone Tyrone, Nikki?
Not yet.
And that's one of the things that they talk about, and it's
a great movie.
Loosely comical.
I know, I just haven't yet.
It does have a lot of, like, they say it almost in a light manner, but at the same time, you're like, dang, that's messed up. And one of those things is like, just think about whatever the last time you went to the club. Say you was there for 2-3 hours. Say you was there for 3 hours at the club.
Okay.
Over the course of time at that club, the music they played, how many people got killed in the music that was played?
Every song.
While you're supposed to be in a feel good, let loose, relaxing environment. Yeah. And you hear these beats that sound just make you bob your head, but at the same time,
it's low vibrational words, low vibrational frequencies.
And that's what Derek was talking about earlier.
How many lovers got screwed over in the songs?
Yes, I take your man. I do, like, all of the most worst stuff, and it's
over on love.
High vibration music and low vibration message. Mm-hmm. And see, that's the thing about it, to where, and I told one of my friends about this. I'll tell you in a second. the high vibration of the music makes it easier and more palatable for you to take in the low vibration of the message. I tell you the best example, which was the worst thing in the world, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Because they was melodic, they did them harmonies, and they got you singing more murder, more murder, more murder, more murder, and they just going there. Shoot them, bang, bang, shoot. I mean, and they just but the melody and the beat is so like, oh man, it felt good just hearing it. But when you actually listen, I told my best friend, I said, listen to what is actually saying, and the way that they say it encourages you to say and chant and repeat, and you just singing it and singing it over. I'm like, this is the worst thing.
Yeah. Once music, hip hop, especially in R&B, once those entities became not within the hands of the creators,
weaponized,
and black labels and people who actually controlled it, once Universal, Warner, all of them took over it, then it became, let's change it. Like, for instance, right now, a lot of male rappers are becoming more conscious with their lyrics, right? They're talking about saving the neighborhood, saving each other, helping do things. So now they're shifting to the women rappers. So now you have Sexy Red. Now you have, what's her name? Sayonara, whatever her name is, whoever she is.
Sukihana.
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 So you listen to those songs, they talking about booty holes being brown and all type of craziness, right? And people are making TikToks with little infants singing that. And this so now it's a reset on the artistry and picking the women and making them do that. Because most women are the head of the household. More women, it's like the modern woman movement of I'm a bad bitch, I'm this and that. So they tapping into those women with this music and they just rolling with it. Rolling with that style, rolling with that sound. And I think Sexy Red was like the first like top 10 or top 20 hip hop record this year. There had been no top records until she came out with that Pound.
And of all possible music, that's what the fucking top was.
Yeah.
God, I saw a quote a couple weeks ago. I'm sure y'all saw it too. It said rap, something like rap music is teaching your daughters to be. I want to say it said horrors. Honestly, is what I want to say it said.
Yeah,
but I was like, wow.
That's not even. But
listen, but this is
it's not even.
It's not teaching.
It's not even covert. It's like in your face.
But this the problem. Let me try to, because this on my mind too. It's these women singing about it is not what's teaching your daughters to be whores, because the men have been trying to teach them to be whores through the music for the last 20 years too. So we can't say now the women are rapping trying to tell you to be a whore. Oh, now you're teaching their daughters to be whores. No, but I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. Women are one of the highest consumers of male hip hop, and the males were telling you to be whores. And so I don't really like the narrative. Like,
I
now they got
with
these
that,
female rappers trying to tell ladies to be whores.
No, Ivory, I disagree with that. Not because men were calling women whores, and they were saying derogatory things, but it was more in a demeaning fashion, which women shouldn't have been dancing and listening to it, and neither should men. But it wasn't. It wasn't men praising women for being whores. It was talking about them and talking like trying to set them in a less than position because they are, or because that's how they perceive them. Now in today's, it's a glorified thing. Like, be proud of being like this. Be proud, and you can, go be unapologetic about how you handle your business. Because in one sense, it's almost like they're saying,
but I'm gonna let you finish.
Okay. In one sense, they're almost like, I get it, to where the things that how men would demean women, they kind of snatched that power and said, no, we'll take this and we control it. We are who we make the decision on who we want and who we don't want and how we get the bag and what standards we'll set. Now, ultimately, it's it could be bad the way that they present it. And I don't think it's certain music. I just don't think it's kid-friendly music. And I don't know when we got to this explicit music being kid-friendly, but I'll let you go ahead. But I just don't think that the way that men did it was ever in a positive light in how they tried to portray women.
I'm just telling you, as a woman growing up during, hip hop culture, and if you think as a medium, you're going to show videos of video vixens and video girls, and this is the type of girl I want, and this is the kind of booty she's supposed to have, and this is how she's supposed to shake it, and this is how she's supposed to swing her straight hair down her back. And you don't think that that shapes women, young women, how they present themselves, how they show up in the world, and what they think is what they're supposed to do? And that's been
You're
our
talking about
messaging all
imagery
these
and
years from
attracted
hip
though.
hop.
You're
But
talking about the imagery and the attraction that men would have to a certain style or type of woman. I'm talking
I'm
about
saying
the
coming out
words
of
and the
hip-hop and
lyrics
male
of how
rappers.
women were presented.
I
Go
got
ahead.
to add to that I think that if you go back to like, late 80s, early 90s with like 2 Live Crew, right? 2 Live Crew was actually champion strippers. They actually were like, we like to see these women. Like they, the album As Nasty As They Want to Be had them laying on the beach with 4 women in front of them. Like they championed the woman body. And I think people took it as they were talking down on women. But they're mostly championing the woman body. They were pro-sex, right? They were pro all these things. They weren't really like women
They
are
were
whores.
pro me choosing who I want to have for sex.
They was pro, and that's okay. They was pro, and I mean that's all right because it's okay to be one,
But
right? And
hold
some
on.
women
But my
enjoy
point
being
is,
one.
no, my point is, when 2 Live Crew was up on the stage with them women, did you look at the women as they were equal to the men that were on that stage?
I looked at
No.
those women as they were strippers. That was their. I looked at.
We know
that
they
was their
wasn't getting
job.
paid what 2 Live Crew was getting paid. We
Of
know.
course not.
I
Of course
watched
not.
Peep Show many a
backup
time. I saw the
dancers.
way he would talk to him.
They're backup dancers. They're not going to get paid what he gets paid. They dance in the clubs in Miami, and he would pick them up and take them places at shock value. He would be on Donahue with all the strippers dancing. Everybody always be like, "Oh my god," So no, he
Yeah. So, but my point is, that's why you can't compare those ages to the age now where the woman is the one who's on the stage rapping. The people are there to see her, and she's dictating how she wants to be viewed, whether positive or negative. It appears that she's dictating it. Let me say that. I ain't gonna even say she's dictating because it's the labels behind you dictating it, but she's the one presented with the power in that situation.
Not my thing is the
messaging ain't changed.
My thing is the transition of the era of hip hop and the treatment of women within it. Because you remember we went through the era of like 2 Live Crew and all that, and then we went through the Latifah, Moni Love, ladies first, empowerment
They
era.
only let you do that for a second. They be like, we got to change this.
And then we get into like the whole gangster rap era, and that gets.
And what did the gangster rap era came in? Right after Public Enemy, right after
X-Clan.
Well, maybe, but yeah. When the conscious rap start coming in,
conscious rap,
we got to come back with something.
And that's
so again, that's why I agree with what you're saying right now. Is because who have been running the game for the last 10 years, your Kendrick Lamar's and J. Cole's and people like that. And they're like, we need to shift this narrative over.
Yeah, it's like at a label. If a label signs X amount of artists, and X amount of those artists are really talented, but also really conscious, all are really empowering, they'll pick one to make the star of that style. That became Kendrick, because you didn't hear about Lupe Fiasco really. You didn't really hear about J. Cole really. You didn't really hear about all these other artists who were still equally as competitive lyrically and talent wise. You didn't hear them. They made Kendrick the only
don't
one.
Get his credit. Right.
Yeah. So they just moved through that. And like I say, once the artist lost control of the art form and the business of it, they became, at the hands of the ones who sit in the back in the boardrooms who tell you this is what's selling, this is what's cool. Like, look at Sexy Red. I keep going back to her because she's a caricature of the art form. Like, she's not even a real person within this. Like, I see her and I'm just like, really? That's what they're pushing for women to see as the next top female rap star. So we've gone from, let's go back. We've gone from Roxanne Shante to Yo-Yo to Queen Latifah to Lauryn Hill to all these great lyricists and talents to Sexy Red.
Well, hold on. You skipped some people in between there too.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying. I'm just kind of, you had JJ Fad. You had JJ Fad, which was like the first platinum record on Ruthless Records.
It was a lot of ratchet sprinkled in that timeline that you ain't touched.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, but the thing is, like if you talk about artists who rapped about women in a negative way, most of those artists still had songs on their album like but I love like Pac, right? He'll talk about women all crazy, but still be like, "Dear Mama," other things, talking about love and affection and feelings for women. A lot of the albums now are just like
balance.
Straight,
that's what I'm talking about.
I'm just nasty now. Like here's an hour of me being nasty. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
and not just nasty, but it's celebrated amongst women. So like, even if you was kind of like, you know, let's say you was what they would call a hoe back in the day, right? Most hoes try to keep some of that hoe shit undercover. Some hoes are just out with it and everybody just knew who the hoe was. Like just and I hate to say that term, right? Because that could just been a bitter man not liking this girl for not giving him no attention, right? Or she could have just been straight up loose and was just fucking with everybody, right? It could have been any dynamic. Now though, you've got women who are glorifying that, right? When I listen, I love fucking Lil' Kim. You know, I love Foxy Brown. I love Ratchetry back in the day. You know, I came from that same era. I love listening to the 2 Live Crew. I ain't had no business singing "Welcome to Fuck Shop," but I was. You know, but it was like that's what it was. And you know, they talk about this. Oh, we had Freakniks and we had all this, you know, women degrading shit back in the day. Yes, we did. But today, it just feels as though the degradation of women is absolutely intentionally highlighted. When Suki can get a record deal talking about now she's eating the dude's ASS, and we singing this as an anthem, and dudes literally hear her say this lyric and they're like, oh fuck, all the women in the room are all talking about how they're eating men's asses. When did we start to make those kinds of private conversations anthems for all girls?
That's crazy.
So let's start way back with Madonna. I ain't gonna go that long, but you go.
I mean,
Madonna,
there's plenty of examples.
Lil' Kim, and I think we had a conversation even after WAP came out. I'm like, where do you think they're going to go from here? They've done. I mean, you can't get that much more direct and vulgar than that. So where do you think they're gonna go?
And I think
even Cardi don't want her daughter to hear her music.
Yeah, right.
But see, that's the thing, though, Nikki. That's the way it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to want your daughter to see and hear that type of stuff.
I agree.
And I think, in all honesty, we look at Cardi B and people like that, but you know, when they release that music, they don't have the power to say how it's going to be released. It's these labels who are going to say, oh yeah, we want to get the kids and we want to get them early. So you kind of they are slave to the label at the same time. Go ahead, Ivor.
One of them city girls, it was sounding unintelligent. Let me find a kind word. Because somebody asked her about her daughter, like 10 or something right now. So you gonna be down with your daughter having hot girl summer? You gonna be down with her being a city girl? You know, when she and that they didn't say while she was a kid.
Yeah,
they said when she gets older, and I mean her face was stricken.
Yep.
I mean, no. I mean, no, she's not gonna. No. I'm raising her completely different than what I was raised in. But that's what you peddling to our kids.
Yeah.
You peddling something to everybody else's kids that makes you sick when you think about your daughter being like that.
It got do the same thing. Yeah, got do the same
Hold on,
thing.
T-But let me say this real quick.
This is gonna be real short.
Go ahead.
Just like T.I., Jeezy, Busta Rhymes, other rappers, they rap, you know, rough rap, gangster rap, whatever, and send all their kids to private school, to colleges, while other kids' sons are still in the hood, riding around, listening to Jeezy, Migos, and all that. No, so guys do it. Guys do it as well.
I had to correct Demetrius because you talking about Tupac. I'm triggered that you triggered about Tupac. You said after that lady accused him of rape, then his lyrics toward women changed. Not true.
Not true.
Go back, listen to Strictly for My Niggas. Go back to Tupacalypse Now. He had been on that way before that accusation came about. Tupac been on that from the jump. He was on some different type of Black Panther stuff. And those are Strictly for My Niggas was my first album that I listened to front to back. Like I know that album almost word for word. from beginning to back. That was my introduction to non-Christian rap. That was the first album I like actually studied.
Yeah, and the music industry does change you. Once you get involved in the music industry, you get involved in the money, you get involved in the machine, it changes you. When Pac came out, he was Afrocentric with Digital Underground. You know, the same song was his first video he was in with the Ankh being carried around like a king. Then after that, he came out with Tupacalypse Now, and he's the gangster. You know what I mean? Because that's what was selling at the time, right? They wanted an artist who could be in that.
You think he was a gangster in Tupacalypse Now? I don't think he really did the gangster thing.
It was a huge contrast from same song. It was definitely more.
You know what? In all honesty, he really wasn't a gangster till All Eyes on Me, till he went out to the West Coast. Because even Me Against the World, he wasn't gangster then. He
not in Me Against the World. I wouldn't say that was the tone of Me Against the World at all. Yeah.
Right, Me Against the World, strictly for my, and Tupacalypse Now. All of them had, once All Eyes on Me came out, then that's when he embraced the West Coast. He embraced all that death row stuff then. But
Machiavelli,
go back and listen to it. Yeah. Now he was in full gangster mode, Machiavelli. But go back and listen to it again.
Yeah, I just think his music became more aggressive, right? As far as the production, as far as the intensity of his lyrics. It really kicked it up a notch with that. And so compared to what else was out at the time, it was like, okay, he's on some NWA-ish type of vibe, right? And they were just like, okay, they were just going to put him in that category. And I think once he and his team maybe saw that that's kind of selling, let's push the limits a little bit more. So every album, let's push it a little bit more. Let's push it a little bit more. And then Suge Knight comes in and, signs him while he's in jail. He gets out, cuts all those records. You got to sell records now because now you owe money.
I'm definitely about to be a Tupac apologist. I think he was just really mad.
Yeah.
For the way that he was accused and why he had to go to jail, the jokes and the things that people said about him while he was on the inside, the way he felt about what had happened with the whole him getting shot. He was mad at a lot of people. So when he got out, I think about where I was when I was 22, 23, and I felt somebody cross me. I was trying to let everybody get it.
You also got to look at that situation as you can't put it on, you got to put a lot of that on him because of the people he surrounded himself with. If you hanging around Haitian Jack, if you hanging around, henchmen, if you hanging around gangsters and you are not a gangster, you get caught up in gangster shit. You know what I mean? Like the word was, he was with henchmen. He did the Ebony interview or whatever, and he was talking bad on Jimi Hendrix, like they ain't really gangsters, and he's the shit.
Right. Demetrius, I agree. When the album came out, Machiavelli Blasphemy was my favorite song on that album when the album came out. Over time, then others became my favorite, but that was. Anyway, let's not talk about Tupac too long. All right, we hit 2 hours between the two of these shows.
Demetrius say
look, we could talk about Tupac. Ivory will tell you, I don't think that there's a bigger Tupac fan than me. I try to downplay it because I don't want people to think,
that you a fanboy.
Tupac was it. It wasn't nobody else. Like my friends would be like, dude, they wouldn't let me touch the radio. Like, dude, all you want to do is just play Tupac. We don't want to listen to Tupac all day. It's like, no.
And how old was Tupac when he was killed? 26?
26. I think it was 26. Yeah. 25 or
That's
26.
That's crazy when you think about that today, how much Tupac did and contributed before he was 25. That it feels like, because he wasn't but a couple years older than us when he died, right? So he was right up the street from us. Right. To think about what he accomplished then versus today, what you see at 25, and that's no shade to 25-year-olds, but especially in the music industry,
he got hundreds of songs, hundreds of songs.
It ain't too many things that Tupac touched that didn't fucking bang, honestly, or that weren't melodic, or that didn't have a beautiful story to them. Actually, Tupac was in a lane of his own.
Yeah, but it goes through history.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, you kind of put Tupac in the same history as the MLKs and the Malcolm X's and people who can touch millions of people with positive words and uplift. You got to kind of move that artist out the way. You know what I mean? You got to bring in a new artist to replace them who's talking a little bit dumber shit, right? So you kind of forget about that artist. But when he had so many songs and he had such a legacy, his legacy transcends that. It keeps going and it keeps pushing, and new people are finding his music and all that.
Let me ask a sub-spiritual question, even though, however you guys believe, but and I know Ivory ain't gonna agree with this, but do you feel that God does some people a favor by killing them early or killing them young? Because what it does is immortalizes them. Think about, if Tupac would have went through his run and then he would have kind of fizzled out, and then Tupac wouldn't have been lightning hot forever. Everybody fizzles and fades, and to some degree. Think about if Martin Luther King had not died and he still stayed alive, and people be talking about him like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, calling them snitches and other different type of stuff and sellouts, and because over periods of time between social media and making missteps, your legacy will get trampled. Think about Malcolm X. He may have not, like a lot of people, them dying early was actually the best thing for their legacy. So I'm using the term God loosely, but do you think that God does people a favor sometime by he actually did you a favor by killing you early? He just immortalized you, and your name will always ring in people's mouths throughout the rest of this earth.
Did them a favor or did us a favor?
That's what I was about to say. That's what I was going to say. Like, I think it's more
did us a favor.
Did us a favor. Yeah.
Well, it did their name a favor. And some people, and let me say it like this, some people who strive for greatness in different areas, their goal is to be what they talked about, like Troy, Brad Pitt and Troy. He was like, the guy big, I'd never fight him. He's like, that's why nobody ever remember your name. The whole reason he went to the war is because I'm going to make my name ring throughout history forever through this war. And that's how some great people, that's what they really want. They want that legacy to last forever. So when you say God, I'm like, he might have did them a favor, depending on what they're looking for. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, I agree. I agree with Ivory. And that's what I was going to say too. Is it's more.
Think about Elvis. If Elvis would have kept wearing them costumes and them big onesies and stuff like that, would he still be like over time? He would. They wouldn't think of him as the greatest of for their culture.
But what's the number of people that can pull off that type of following today? Like today, our following is based on social media, right? Like how we engage with people generally is social media platforms. I feel like because so much has been done through the social media outlet, it has lessened our connection to other people. It has lessened our interest in other people. It's lessened how much we are engaged with another person, because our attention spans have been dropped so fucking drastically because everything is so 2 seconds, keep scrolling. Like back then with Elvis and even with Tupac and Martin Luther King and MLK, like we were so restricted to how we connected to them. Like oftentimes it may have been through a speech in person or through an actual interaction with somebody, or, just a more intimate, more maybe personal connection to a person, that we have so much to choose from today that can a person be that big today anymore? Can a regular musician be that big? Can a regular Black activist be that big? Can a regular, can they be that big today to where they could have that calling? Because we're so used to the addiction to the fast world of social media and how quickly those things move there. Could there ever be another Michael Jackson? Whether you think he did or he didn't, it doesn't matter. Could there be another Prince? Could there be another Beach Boys? Could there be another? It doesn't just have to. We're not just talking about exclusively Black artists by any means, but that's all of our. That's what we love here, right? So could there be some of those people? Look, I don't fucking like Elvis Presley, but could Elvis Presley ever happen again? I don't think that. I don't even know if we can compare those because they're not the same anymore.
They're not, and they never will. As big as only very few people can dance or entertain like Michael Jackson. I'll tell you, I guess the best mix between Michael Jackson and Prince, I would say, is Bruno Mars. If you look, Bruno Mars is lyrically, the way he puts together songs and music, like he's genius level.
Sure, agreed.
But he's never going to be looked at like a Michael Jackson or Prince because of the time frame. And let me give you another example. If Jasmine Sullivan was born in the 1960s or 70s,
right,
she'd be an all-time great.
Yeah, she'd be huge.
But since she was born in this era, and you could say the same thing about a Fantasia and other people like that, you know, she will never be looked at with the credit that she should have, because this era doesn't acknowledge or respect R&B artists the same way.
And I think
the only thing it has to do is when you were born, when you were in your time in the light, it just wasn't the right time.
Yeah, I think with social media, definitely it takes out the discovering of new talent out the picture. You're basically told what you should like now.
Right.
This is the next big art. Like, I don't think there'll ever be another Michael Jackson or Prince. There'll never be another one of them, right? Because labels aren't looking for that no more. Right. They're not looking for somebody who's like
that too.
Who has super talented, who's like a Stevie Wonder, right? Like a blind person with Stevie Wonder would not get signed today.
I said even right now,
a huge mega star like that. That would not.
I said that on a post earlier on somebody's post because they were talking about. I said India Arie is a modern day Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
And she will never get that type of credit ever. Right. If you go back, forget about her singles that you know of that had video. If you go back and listen to her B-side music, incredible. But she'll never get that recognition because she was, you know, her music started coming out in the early 2000s.
I think the closest thing to Prince that I can, there's two people that come to my mind when I think of Prince. I think of D'Angelo and I think of Bilal.
Yes, Bilal never gets any credit.
Bilal is dope, right?
And he plays a ton of instruments too.
Yeah, like they play tons of instruments. They have that sex appeal thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have that super talent. They're great vocalists. They don't need auto-tune. They don't need all that shit. They can do it themselves, but they won't get the push, which is why
D'Angelo is my male artist. D'Angelo is my favorite.
Which is why D'Angelo releases the album every 10 years. He don't like this industry shit.
Right. Yep.
He don't fuck with it. He's like, he's contractually bound to release an album, but in his own time frame. That's why he takes 10 years apart. And that gives you an idea of the music industry, that he could take 10 years apart, still come out with the best album, win the Grammy, when there's all these other artists dropping records during that time that don't compete. No matter how much the market
is. Quantity is not quality.
Yeah.
At all. Like, even just thinking about, like, 50 years of hip hop, right? So hip hop just had their 50th birthday. And of course, a bunch of my friends are in the entertainment world. And so just watching everybody's posts about their relationship over the last, some of y'all are 50, right? But like, I was 5 when hip hop was essentially born, right? So in friends of mine who have grown up as little boys and little girls, that's all that is hip hop, right? Like, so I started thinking about my relationship with music and what got me into hip hop music and my first tape and da-da-da-da. Like, I'm a music junkie. I'm a music head. And it made me want to go to my storage bin in my closet and pull it out and just start touching, like literally physically touching my tapes and my CDs and my singles, because I've got them all. Like, I'm that's the one good thing about being a fucking hoarder, is I know what kind of shit to save and what kind of shit to get rid of. And I never threw away a tape. I never threw away a CD. I didn't even want to loan them shits out back in the day. I loaned out my UGK Super Tight one fucking time and never got it back. I've never loaned out another album ever since. But that was my relationship, right? So like, my foundation of understanding hip hop music is different because I had like the book, right? My kids have a fucking website they can go to. Their relationship to those things is not,
right.
I don't want to say better or worse.
You remember going there and cracking open the CD for the first time and putting it in there, and you had to, you paid for it. So you had to take your time
read that cover
listen to it
back,
and study it, read the cover, all of that.
That was like the magic of music, though, right? It's like you heard the new stuff, You caught a bus or got a ride to the mall. You searched it out. You bought it with your own money or your parents' money.
Yeah.
You take it home. You bust it open. You can smell it, right? You can smell that newness on the record.
Yep.
You can read all the credits. Who produced?
Sometimes
who
they
sang,
have
And the lyrics, because you know
sometimes
the
it'll be an
lyrics
open
was
up
in there.
poster. You
and
can
the
take
lyrics.
the poster and
poster.
put it on
And
your.
even back in the 70s, you found out zodiac signs and all that shit on the
Yep.
records, right? So
Yep.
that was different. Whereas now you stream, Spotify bombards you with all types of shit. So the magic of
and
that
you-
other
yeah.
piece of tangibleness,
You never get
it's
the
gone.
experience of a whole project anymore.
no.
No.
You just
No.
I like the song and I
No.
move on to the. But yeah, when you paid that 1988 or whatever you had to pay for it, you were going to go on the full ride and catch the
Because think
Yep.
about it. Because
the
think about it, right?
process and
like
the
if
feeling.
there-
There's a whole vibe to it.
Like if there's a song or an album that all of us really like, right? And I'm talking about back to physical records, right? We can
Mhm.
probably remember when we bought the record,
Yes.
Mhm.
where we were, when we
Which
listened
mall
to
we
it,
went to.
right?
Yep.
We can remember all that, right? But now with streaming, it comes on while you're jogging, while you're working out,
Yeah.
while you're cooking, while you're driving, while you're taking the kids. What you could care less about this song,
Right.
that song. You know, I got a whole wall of records here, and I can remember almost every time I bought any of these records.
I
like,
do.
oh,
I
Yep.
remember I went to
I got
got the
Biggie.
BMI and you get like 10
Yep.
CDs for
Yep.
a couple of dollars.
I remember I got Biggie's Ready to Die. I caught the bus in the rain, the Music Mania.
Yep.
Mhm.
That shit.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yep.
like that's how music was. It left an impression in your mind of that moment. That's why a lot of artists try to sample or sound like or regurgitate those moments because that's when music was selling.
Yeah.
So there's big stars like there's Bruno Mars, like Uptown Funk is basically the time.
Mhm.
Right.
That's
Right.
not a new groove. That's the time. You know what I mean? So
Right.
you know,
Right.
even Smells Like Teen Spirit,
Sam
right?
Goody.
Nirvana, right?
Nirvana.
The beginning of that song is the Gap Band. You know what I mean? The way the drums come in.
Mhm.
Yep.
There's a video on YouTube with Dave Grohl saying that's where he got it from. So
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Gap Band did that on like 10 different
Yeah.
songs.
so
Yeah.
that style of music,
Yeah.
that's what people still touch on too, right? Because
Mhm.
it leaves an impression in you, like where you were when you heard it. You know what I mean? Like just like with hip hop, like I just turned 50, so you know hip hop is like my shit. It started when I was born, so it's like I remember every time I bought a record. I was at the Grammys when they did the 50th hip hop, had all those rappers performing, and that was
Mhm.
probably the first time I've been to a show where I actually felt like crying.
Mm.
Right.
To be sitting that close in the
Right.
arena with all these rappers. LL is my favorite, but LL, Run DMC, you know, Too Short, all these people, right? Just be like, damn. And the stuff you don't see on TV is the whole arena was crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody, young, old, white, black, everybody resonated with that music. And then when the younger artists came out, I don't know who those younger cats are, but when they came out, the audience was kind of like, And then Too Short's out, bitch. Everybody's in there going crazy. Run DMC, then another new artist. So
Yeah.
you can see what people resonated with and what we're forced to like. But that's probably like.
But then the other thing with that too is what is the same thing in the comedy arena where they talked about how a lot of hardcore comics who came up in the comedy clubs,
right,
they didn't respect a lot of these people who just do shorts and memes and these these social media figures, because like y'all can do these little 15-second short funny videos, but then when it's time for y'all to go out and do a show, do 20-30 minutes of stand-up, y'all ain't put the time or the work in, and it's evident because your comedy, your stand-up lacks. It sucks. You just ain't put in the work, so you can tell the difference. And that's the difference between like somebody like LL, Run DMC, KRS-One. When they get on that stage, it's different because they had to put in a lot of work and hours. Busta Rhymes, come on.
Right.
And these new people who just said, oh, I don't even have to say, I got my own little home studio. I can make this and then I can just press it and put it out on YouTube 20 minutes after I make it.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do no shows. They ain't have to really work on stage presence and other things like that. And
the access,
when it comes to the big stuff, it shows.
the access to putting the music out, like I'm a fan of that, right? Like, you know, I got
Right.
a home studio.
Yeah, me
I'm a
too.
fan of like I can record it, press it, mix it, drop it. But I also make
Mhm.
sure that the quality of the talent is there. Like I can
Mhm.
really rap, right? I
Right.
can really make fucking beats. So it's like other people put shit out really quick. Nikki, you know, I'll be on my shit. I do this, right?
But I do this.
But there's some
This
people
is
put out
not pay my bills.
yeah, but there's some people put out music where it sound like they made it in my
Right.
bedroom.
Right.
And it sound janky and they put it out. And those are getting millions of streams. So that's making artists who put a lot of effort into it being like, should I rap like them?
Right.
Should I like lower my talent to be like that? And the industry isn't
Right.
helping those artists and saying, no, keep being you. Like I'd rather have, 100,000 fans who like what I do than, 300,000 who like it because I sound like somebody else. You know what I mean?
And technology has
that.
made it so easy just to replicate a sound.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to know how to actually play keys or play a
No.
bass or play a
No.
guitar,
Not at
play
all.
drums. They got
You
all this
need
stuff
to know how
pre-made
to
for
do
you. You just push the
iTunes.
button, all of that stuff in there. And
Yep.
now since
It's drag and drop.
you can get away with the the kind of mumbling style. I ain't trying to hate on nobody, but it's
That's
like
true though.
it's easy to replicate.
Yep.
You don't have to have your own voice like a Busta Rhymes or like you
Yep.
don't have to even find your own voice. The society is totally comfortable with you sounding like the last 10 people.
Yep.
So I could remake the beats easy, no problem. I could do that in 15 minutes, and then I could, just make it sound like there's no demand on originality anymore.
Yeah.
So that it takes everybody off the hook.
Yeah, a lot
So-
of it. Go ahead, Nikki.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna write my thought down.
No, I was gonna say a lot of it goes to like you say, the originality, right? Like when I came up, you didn't want to sound like nobody else.
Right.
Exactly.
I don't want to sound like nobody else. I want to, if you did sound somebody else, somebody would say, "Are you biting?" Like when
Yep,
PMD
absolutely.
came out, people saying they sounded like Rakim, so they put it in a song. We came out, people said like we sound like the R. You know what I mean? So they had to
Mhm.
differentiate themselves. They didn't sound like somebody else. Now it's like that's what's selling. Let me mumble the hell out of my raps. Let me do that too. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I've heard people talk about Eminem, Busta Rhymes, even back to like Das Effects and Fushnik, and like they using a lot of words. Well, can't your brain catch up? Aren't you intellectually there where you can,
Right.
you can follow? You can follow what they're saying, right? They're like, man, it shows a lot of words in that song. Like, damn, what's he saying? Like, listen, follow. Like, that's why our age group and people who listen to raps then, we're a little bit more adept to hearing things. We can hear a whole Busta Rhymes rhyme, Missy
Right.
Elliott, and repeat it word for word.
Uh-huh.
While younger artists would be like, oh no, man, slow that beat. I've been at that show where they're like, slow that beat down.
That's too many words.
That beat too fast. You're like, God damn. Like, okay, go.
Hey, he said there'll never be another MC Hammer. Look,
Can't touch this.
I ain't listening.
Shit.
Everybody ain't designed to be the best lyricist in the world. When you talking about a showman and
Yeah.
somebody who
Yeah.
like that stage up, put on a show, how many people rap artists hit it like Hammer?
I'm
You about
gonna
to-
go get my MC Hammer tape out, goddamn it. That's something to pull on my box tonight.
Listen, let me tell you something. Hey, I encourage everyone who see this. We got YouTube now. Go back and look at Hammer on the award shows.
Yep.
You put his performances up against what you see now. You tell me what you see.
Even
Hammer
Bobby
had
Brown,
a
he
show.
played, somebody played some Bobby Brown the other day on stage, and I was like, God damn, it's been a minute since I've seen Bobby on stage like that. But nobody do that no more.
No, they don't do that no more.
Do that.
That's too much.
What was
So,
it?
to the point that you were making
said
about
you wrote down a
about
question.
nothing being original, like that's
Right.
what I feel like social media has done to us. We're not doing anything original. We're doing what the next fucking trending topic is. Like I literally saw somebody post today, and I almost said some foul ass shit, but I didn't because I'm trying to stay, in a peaceful space. But like I saw somebody post something earlier today, and it was obviously men doing hella thirsty shit, right? Because it was a new trend of women bending over, grabbing their ankles, and like showing obviously what their ass looks like bent over. But it's like, and she's dressed, right? So she's got a dress on, so she's not butt ass naked. But it's just women who are bent over to see what her booty looked like when she bent over, right? And I get it, because on one hand, it could be a fine ass motherfucking image depending on what's bent over, right? I get it. Two, you have to be a woman who agrees to subject yourself to this shit. Like you have to really want to put yourself out there in that position to bend over to let another man judge what you look like from behind. but that's gonna fucking take over. So at some point here now, we're gonna start seeing a slew of fucking women bent over, grabbing their ankles for people to judge what their ass look like from behind. Just like the silhouette trend, and just like any other trend that we do, if social media says it's fucking popular, that's what we're gonna do. So no longer are we looking for anything original at all.
So the thing is, if we don't want to call people whores, we definitely can call them attention whores.
Absolutely.
We are in the age of attention whores.
Yeah.
But isn't
People
that
will
what?
whore
Isn't
themselves,
that one
set
of the
themselves
foundation?
on fire in a tub, do all kinds of stuff.
Isn't that one of the foundational
Walk up
probably
crates.
links to? Isn't the foundational link to an attention whore is the insecurity component, or isn't the component? Isn't the
So.
like attention, being an attention whore and being insecure, they go hand in hand. Like you have to have attention if you're insecure, because you have to be constantly assured that you're XYZ.
Yeah.
So they obviously they go hand in hand, which goes back to all the other things that we've talked about today with the eating a motherfucker ass. Like if this is what is popular, if this is what we're putting currency into in the society that we have today, there are no more princes and fucking Michael Jacksons and Tupacs. No, we're all carbon copies of attention-seeking shit.
But let me say this though. I want to be fair. I think the thrust of my dissatisfaction is not in what is it, Sexy Red. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Okay, people like that. It's because I do think, 2 Live Crew, Lil Kim. It's been variations of that ever since. I don't think, even like NDRE was talking about, that type of music is designed for a certain type of platform. That's why on BET you had BET Uncut. You had to stay up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning for that type of music to be played. It wasn't going to be on your mainstream award shows and presented for public universal consumption. I don't think it belongs there. So I'm not so much hating on the artists who do that music. And I think that's our biggest problem. We focus on the artists and the people who are doing the music, where that type of music has always been around, just like porn. Do you think we should get rid of porn? No, I think porn has its place, but I don't think porn should be played at 6 o'clock in the evening on ABC and NBC.
Right.
It has its place.
Yeah.
You can't put it everywhere. So if somebody they put a porn video on, we have an interruption for CBS News and we want to play this video, and then it's 2 people getting it in. Who do you blame? Do you blame the artist or the people who are in the video, or do you blame the network for playing this at inappropriate times of the day and on inappropriate platforms? Where does it change when it comes to rap artists and even black people to say, oh, look at them, they ain't got no taste, look what you're doing for you? They're doing the music that they make. We need to put more pressure on the people who push it on the wrong platforms. Those certain stuff does not belong on certain platforms. That's really my only issue.
T, you were saying?
Yeah, I was saying, as far as like Lil Kim, I think the difference with Lil Kim to me, because her first album had her legs spread over, and every woman artist has done that since, right? Taking that same type of picture. But I think the difference with Lil Kim is that she could rap, and she had that "don't fuck with me" attitude with her rapping. So if you was going to sexualize her, you had that element of fear and respect for her, that you didn't really want to get too nasty with her, because she could rap. She could come back at you in a certain way. While now it's like, please talk more about me being nasty and ratchet, please. And I'll
celebrating how nasty we are.
Yeah,
Celebrating.
And I'll take it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, talking about Sexy Red, like we'll just use her as an example. Like she's literally openly talked about like having STDs, and that's cool, right? Like sometimes it fucking happens if you have unprotected sex, right? Like, okay, taking the shame away from the reality of what unprotected sex is certainly necessary. But like, somebody said something about, there was some post that was made recently about a stud, right? And she was like, I got the STD, just bring the U. And I'm like, oh my God, wow. Why would you say that? Like, so somehow in all of that, we've glorified behavior that has consequential responses, right? Like, and I get it. Like, I listen to the same dirty ass shit. I listen to horrible music. Shit, my parents would have cringed, and they did. I remember my dad took my fucking Dr. Dre CD and frisbeed that bitch out the window when we was going down I-35. He saw that weed leaf on there. He's like, "What the fuck is this?" And y'all know what my family does for a living, right? My dad seen that weed leaf and he just frisbeed that bitch out the window. I was mortified. I couldn't believe he threw my Dr. Dre CD away. But you know,
like, if we turn around now, we can go back and get it.
Right.
Look,
We can
right
save it if we get it.
I got another one as soon as I got back.
And take a mental note. William Cannon and
Yeah.
Right. If I go back now, it might not be too scratched. But today's music, like, I almost don't even want my kids to listen to the fucking radio. The radio. Like, at least back in the day, you know, before we had access to certain things, we kind of had to dig a little harder to find things that might not have been the most age appropriate, or that we probably shouldn't have had put into our visual banks at those young ages, right? Again, nude magazines used to have black covers at the store, so you couldn't even see what was in them. You knew that they was there, but you couldn't even see the shit. Now it's just,
go back behind the curtain to get to it.
Yeah, now we're so desensitized, and all of this goes back to creating a fucking division amongst men and women, and women and women, and men and men. Continue creating these divisions, continue creating these things that are going to keep us at each other's necks, or not unifying, or certainly not, you know, feeling like I need to support another man, or a man support a woman, or whatever, because look at what these bitches do. Look what these hoes do, or look what these sorry men do. And that might not be the majority of people's thought processes, but it's enough motherfuckers right now with clout, with platforms, who are spitting this type of rigmarole, right? Where that's what's popular, and that's where the damage is happening.
Static Vibe said, I saw this video that Static Vibe talking about, this old R&B singer. She going all the way all through the crowd, grabbing men's crotches all through the whole. And she spent, and you can tell that was part of her routine. Like, you could tell that's what she did on a regular basis.
I like some old Johnny Taylor. Let me see it, girl.
and she went. I mean, like, it was like a whole video. And she just went around grabbing men crotches like the whole time. And their ladies and wives was right, so they knew what she did the whole time. But again, Static Vibes, to my point and to Nikki's point, it was an adult show. It wasn't no kids there. It wasn't no, it wasn't, we see the video years down the road, but it wasn't a part of actual official video that they was gonna put mainstream. This was something that. This was a concert. This is what we did as adults here. Yeah, but a time and a place.
Standard. Yeah, even with that, it's a double standard, right? Because if she's walking around grabbing on men and doing this, it's like, oh yeah, get it, lady. If a man was walking around grabbing women on their breasts,
now, whatchamacallit did that back in the day.
Whatever.
Was that Richard Dawson from Family Feud?
Oh yeah,
he
kissing
everybody.
He kissed
everybody.
Everybody got a fucking kiss.
Yep.
I was like, whoa, when I saw videos breaking down how much he kissed every woman that was on there.
Little girls too, anybody.
So, but so this is where we go way behind things, right? And this is where we get into patriarchy, and this is where we get into the systems that were put into play. This is where all of these, though, start coming out. So it's never just you can't just put your finger on one part of this. Like, when you start to peel back the layers, there's so many places you have to go with this, but they're all still created for divisionary purposes.
Right.
Period. They're also created for division.
I think that's the biggest issue in today's society. I keep saying is the whole the polarization movement that we have, where everything has to be black and white. So if this is okay, then how come this can't be okay? And there's no nuance, there's no gray area, there's no balance to say, yes, this is right, this is wrong. But in this scenario, this just belongs here at this place and this time. So they either want to say, we need to be able to be open to do it all the time, anytime we want to, or nobody should ever be able to do it or say it, or it has to be one or the other all the time. And it creates a really messed up society when you try to live by those rules.
Agree.
So I see. He said that was Millie Jackson he was talking about.
Yeah,
So that
you gotta go look at that, Nikki. It's crazy. It's
I
crazy.
think I've seen it as you talk about it, but I'll have to go pull this up.
No, the fact that he said Millie Jackson, yes, that was her whole shtick back in the day.
Okay.
Like she had a song called "Shit on My Fingers," right? Like
I'm gonna have to go pull. I know her name, but I'm gonna have to go pull her up.
that was the first. That was the first. My booty hole brown. But,
Yeah,
which you couldn't do back then, right? So I'm not saying that I glorify it, but at the time, that was like breaking, right? Like that was emerging. Like women couldn't do that.
And even with that,
and it's the directness of it. So if you think about Grace Jones, "Pull Up to My Bumper," that's talking about anal, but it was done and said in a certain type of way. It wasn't in your face all the time.
The songwriting was better to put it out
more
there.
Innuendo.
Like, you'll sing it, but be like, wait a minute, what now? When you get older and you listen to it, you're like, wait, what?
Put it all together.
You want to go downtown?
What?
And it's like you don't what exactly does this mean?
But yeah, definitely go YouTube Millie Jackson, because my dad had all those were like blue records. He used to call them blue records, right? Because those were like the nasty one, like Red Fox, Dolomite. She was in that category. She was in that category where you playing a Millie Jackson record. Okay, boys, me and my brother, time for y'all to go to bed. We about to play.
Yes, girl pop music.
And I'll be to the door like, ooh. Shit on my fingers. What is that? But her shit jammed though. Like her music was great though. Like Millie Jackson had great music. It was well produced. The songs were written good. It was just her subject matter was just like, wow. I think her daughter's a singer too now.
Oh wow. It's just so different how things are just so how taboo things have been approached differently. But
all right, we're done.
Yeah,
we finished it. We're done.
We are just a great conversation.
It's been a while, so yeah, we had to get it all out.
We went all over the place too. We definitely went all over the place. So
okay
it'll be and it'll be interesting rewatching this and re-listening to this. And I to kind of furthermore answer questions that you'd asked earlier about responsibility in addressing certain things. I feel like these conversations do just that. For those that they're intended for, and for those that are in the solution-based mentality, hopefully, right? Because at the end of the day, I think that we do want to hear each other a little bit more, and we do want to understand each other a little bit more, and we do want to grow as a species and understand people of different cultures and backgrounds, and just sex is everything. So if you're just now catching the tail end of this, go watch this from the beginning, because we had a very interesting conversation. We have been all over the place today. And I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate you jumping on. I appreciate for being here tonight. There was a lot of things that were said that a lot of people will hopefully tune into, and maybe we can continue growing this conversation. Because I think most people agree that we're in a discontent kind of space. Like maybe not entirely in our whole entire lives, but relationally, I think a lot of people just have a discontentment disposition, and we want better. We want more. We want something more fulfilling. And I don't know, with the social media being what it is and not being able to put this back in the bag, I think we have to work a lot harder than what a lot of us are willing to do or have been willing to do. So that's definitely my damn personal challenge after this conversation tonight.
Yeah, like I said, I have no hope for the future of society, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. But what I will say, this is your hope. You create that within your own personal circle, and you can have you're not gonna have it from a widespread global. It's gonna keep going to shit. I have no doubts about that. But what you can do is create your circle, your environment, your atmosphere, and create your own heaven within that. And I'm confident. I feel like I have a strong, free thinking, supportive, positive, progressive circle that I roll with. Got to create it.
Agree.
Yep, that's all I got. All right, hey, I'm about to get out of here. Y'all have a good one.
Good night, everybody.